Did you lose? Yeah. All right. You want to come say hi to everybody? Yeah. No? Yep. Oh my goodness, woman. You better stop that. Crazy. My wife's crazy. I think let's see how we get this going here. Got it right there. All right, got 10. Oops. Hello, everybody. If I can get this guy to pop out. Hey, what's going on, Daniel? I got your email about the spreadsheets, so I appreciate that. I haven't looked at it yet. Rochester, W. Brew, hello. What's going on? Pablo's in the house. Denver in the house, right on. Just watching a little bit of the Pack and the Carolina Panthers. Why would Carolina go for a 2-point conversion down by 8? Why not go for the a little? Yeah, I noticed that too. That's weird. Yeah, just a little bit early. It is. Yeah, whenever he's ready. Yeah, it is a little bit hazy. I don't get that. It's weird. Roanoke. Still kind of hazy. There's my light. Oh, there we go. Made the light. It's still a little bit hazy. That's odd. Roanoke, what's going on? So the Carolina Panthers get a touchdown, and they're down by, I think they're down by 14, so they go for a 2-point conversion. Stupid. What's going on, Tom? North Carolina in the house. Don, Que Paso. It doesn't look as hate. Yeah, that's what. Oh, it's the way I think I put the lights. There we go. All right, cool. All right, cool. Western New York. Where's Western New York, Vic? Yes, I think it's actually the way I don't know what. I don't like that. I wonder if Rob, Pittsburgh. I got these little lights right here. Hey, open up an M1 account. How's that going, Tom? I'm actually going to interview the founder of M1 on the podcast next Tuesday, I think. Yeah, this coming up Tuesday. I'm very much looking forward to that. So if Buffalo, right on. If you guys have any questions you want me to ask this guy, by all means, let me know. I'm not sure I want to do a live stream simply because he's not expecting that. But yeah, it's good. I'm glad to hear about your M1 thing, Tom. That's great. Like I said, I have an account with him. That's good. Good stuff. Houston in the house. Right on. Fantastic. I've only did 2 videos this weekend because I'm tighten up the finishing touches on my course, which I keep saying. But happy Veterans Day, Starling. Right on, man. Happy Veterans Day. I'm putting the finishing touches on my course, and I definitely want that to be out here shortly for sure. Hey, right on, Rob. First individual stock investing. Come here, buddy. Oh. I'm going to share with you a picture I took of old Pablo, and then we'll get started here in just a second. As Liam and Pablo's literally laying on the he's laying on the laptop, and there he is beforehand. He jumped off my he jumped off my lap onto Liam on the laptop. Oh my goodness. What a nugget. All right, so let's go ahead and 10th Mountain support. Right on. What's 10th Mountain support, Mike? What's are you up in Fort Drum? Driving trucks? Jody, Que Paso. All right, well, waiting here. Let me go over here. Hold on just a second. Let's see here. Just did you see the Medicare premiums? I think came in. Part B are going up by $8 a month. So Part B is going to be about $144 a month in 2020. And just real quick, while I'm yapping here, we'll wait to get started at the full-fledged 7:30. Medicare, the IRMA rates, if you're single and you're making less than 87,000 in 2020, you have no premium increases at all, which is good. But if you're making over $87,000 of AGI, that's adjusted gross income, and if you factor in your tax exempt income, you'll have a 40% increase in Medicare Part B and Part D premium. So just remember, single 87,000, married filing jointly, if your AGI is over 174 in 2020, you'll have a 40% increase. You have a doubling of your premium if you're making more than 109 single and 218 married, and you have a tripling of your premium if you're making more than 163 single and 326 married. So the rates have they've expanded some, which is good, fantastic. So that's but I mean, at the end of the day, a single person making more than 87 is going to pay 40% more Medicare Part B and Part D, and a single person making more than 109 is going to pay double. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Right on, Mike. Got another Pittsburgh in here. All right. You and my man Rob, we're gonna be boxing, because the Bruins obviously are better than the Penguins. The Steelers are obviously worse than the Pats. And I guess the Pirates and the Red Sox never play, so who cares? Actually, the Steelers won today. I think it was tied. Hey, Ben. Hey, you want to come in here real quick? All right. So we can grab this seat right here.
All right.
I'll introduce you. And me and Pablo. All right. So this is my brother, Ben.
Hello.
I obviously got the handsome genes, and Ben is in town from Richmond, Virginia, and it's always good to see your family. Our sister lives up in New Jersey, so she's a northernmost one of us for sure. So welcome to the live stream, Ben.
Hey.
And Ben, any thoughts about being born and raised in Maine?
No, it was I mean, other than having to deal with Josh as a big brother, no, it was a great place. It was a great place to be raised. It was definitely unique situation that we were raised in. I don't know how much Josh has gotten into this, but the island we were raised on was half fishermen and half hippies. And I don't know if you got into the deal that we were raised by the hippies.
Yes,
so
indeed.
it's amazing we all ended up in the military, even though from those sort of beginnings. But it was a great place to grow up. I mean, we just run around the island unsupervised, managed not to get too hurt, just had a good time. It's just a sort of the way you want your kids to be able to be raised.
It was did you like going to the beach? It's cool. Come here, buddy. In the summertime, we could walk, back then we could walk down the beach, you know what I'm saying? It was like, nowadays you can't leave your kid out or else you get arrested by CPS. But back then we could actually do that. You know what I'm saying?
The thing I didn't realize is how cold the water is back then. I didn't realize it was just a place to swim. And now I went back a few years ago and realized it's no place for anyone to actually go swimming. It's so cold. So, but yeah,
Did you used to jump off the wharf?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I was a little young.
All right.
A little young for that. But yeah, Josh used to jump off. There's a big tower where the ferry would come in. And Josh used to jump off of it. It's like crazy to even think about.
Just how cold. I mean, just how cold the water was, man. It's nuts. So you think about it, last time I was up there, I just stuck my toe in there and it just freezed my ass off. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So Ben's down here. He's got a business appointment in Atlanta. And it's a nice thing about when I was a couple of times, I stayed with Ben and his wife and the 4 kids up in Richmond, going up north and return the favor coming down south. It was actually nice. So I'd drive from here to Portsmouth when I was working in New Hampshire, stay with Ben one night going up, and then my sister in Morristown coming back, which is pretty cool. Everyone says you don't look like me. They say a brother from another mother. It's not from another mother. Maybe a different dad. We don't know. But the hippies,
Dad, you out there?
The hippies get around, if you know what I'm saying. That's for sure. Yeah. So Ben and I were just sitting there talking about our frustration with football. They just saw Aaron Rodgers get a call, roughing the passer on an insanely silly call. And we're sitting there thinking, man, the football back in the 70s, 80s was cracked up to be. Now it's just sad to see. Sad to see America becoming so wussified, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man. And Ben, what do you do for work, man?
Do marketing consulting. So that's what brings me down here. So work with all types of businesses, just help them grow via marketing, a lot of digital marketing. It's good. It's get to see how different industries work, different struggles, different challenges, and get to make a difference in some of these, and quite a few businesses, and the way they operate and the way they grow. So it's good. It's good. And it gives me a chance to see my brother. I was lucky enough to come down on a Sunday, so the traffic wasn't too bad in Atlanta. Still some Atlanta traffic. Can't avoid it completely, but it wasn't too bad.
You all hear Pablo? Pablo's growling at Ben, and then he sits on his lap, and then he growls at Ben.
Pablo. I'm gonna win you over, Pablo.
Oh my goodness!
Give me the eye.
Pablo's giving Ben the stink eye, that's for sure. Oh my goodness! And so Ben has he went to William and Mary. He went to the Marine Corps when you're a freshman in college.
Yeah, sophomore year.
Sophomore year, and then Marine Corps reserves for 6 years or something like that. And then don't forget to sign up for your Amazon discount. You got to do it by day's end tomorrow, and I haven't done it yet. You got to do that. And then graduated from William and Mary, got an MBA from Arizona State.
Yep, absolutely.
And then, but you were saying today you don't think the MBA is necessarily like all it's cracked up to be so much, or
yeah, I mean Arizona State, it's a good program. I think the biggest thing is like what I actually learned there hasn't been too applicable to what I do on a daily basis. I think if you use it to build a strong network, then it would have been good. But for me, that's not something I came away with. So, I mean, it was good. I mean, it's always good to learn. I just think in terms of like making a substantive impact in terms of like my career trajectory, it wasn't that. But if you can go and build that network, build those relationships, I think it's great.
You think it's worth paying $100,000 for or anything like that?
I don't. I mean, ASU was not 100,000. I don't know what it is now. It definitely wasn't 100,000 when I went. So it was a good in-state school. And I was able to work when I was doing it, so I didn't lose that income. But it would be hard to say unless you're able to build those relationships and say it turns into something significant. But I wouldn't say just based on what I learned, it would be worth investing that amount of money. But there's schools out there that really do a lot more in terms of building those networks, and we didn't do that. It was a long time ago too. I think they've gotten better about trying to help you build those networks.
What do you think about just colleges teaching, just like, because you're in internet marketing, and SEO, and Ben does search engine optimization, a lot more than that too. In fact, he's working on an app right now as well. What do you think? Does business school or any marketing department, do they teach any of that stuff? I mean, I know we're broad brush, I get that, but it's like, it just seems like business school is going to teach you the textbook stuff, but not, even basic Facebook advertising stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I definitely think, we've had clients actually that sort of teach digital marketing, like things you would not get in school.
Yeah.
And it's a good point. A lot of this is like, is this a place for like a new apprenticeship program? Like, I think this is like skills that don't require a PhD, but do require you to be taught. I think about just like the opportunities out there, think about, from my perspective, like thinking about some of these like disadvantaged youth, like can we give them training in these sort of things? Because you don't need to have a PhD, you don't need to know calculus, but you do need to show up at work and be willing to grind it out and learn and have that, just have that right attitude. So I definitely think there's an opportunity beyond just traditional schooling to teach these skills. And I think like, what could you do to put together a program for, like I said, disadvantaged youth, people who just may not be exposed to it before, maybe don't have like access to a computer the way you think. So just finding opportunities that way. I don't think definitely, I haven't seen it in school, and I don't know. I know it didn't come to me from business school.
Yeah.
But I do definitely think that's an open opportunity.
When did you get your first taste of computer? We didn't have a computer growing up. So when did you get your first, into just technology?
Definitely. We obviously had some computers. When I first went to school, email just started. The internet wasn't really out there. You're on that blue screen word processor. So after I graduated, I just really, I had my first job. My evenings were free. So I was just like learning how to get on the computer. That was like about the same time Amazon, actually, I don't know if Josh talked about this, but right around the same time Amazon started up. Josh and I put together a record label called Moose Style Records, and
I think I have talked about that.
Yeah, so we but we had like a really early e-commerce website. We're selling albums online, very similar to Amazon actually. Josh got interviewed by a few publications about what we did, and so
that's cool, man. Remember that?
Yeah, Jeff Bezos and us parted ways. He went to billionaires.
Yeah, we're penny heirs. Actually, Jeff Bezos did us like Bill Gates did Homer Simpson in The Simpsons. They got the internet on computers now. Remember that? So, no, but we're too sophisticated to watch that. It's actually funny. We say we had the first real blog. Remember that? Like or blog or what was somebody that with the we had an e-zine called Death to All Tyrants, and man, it was pretty cool. Ben did a lot of the grunt work on that, but we had people all over the world contributing. It was cool, man. It was fun. It's just funny how Jeff Bezos, of course, he had money from his parents. Then he had.
I don't know what the deal is. I read a book about. I don't know he was adopted.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I don't know that. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's not true. It seemed like I had thought in my head that Bezos had started money. Ben, they moved, as I would say, a lot of people, they moved from right outside Washington, D.C. to Richmond for, cheaper cost of living and I don't want to say simple, but an easier way of life. And a lot of times I tell people like, look, man, everyone thinks I can't retire unless I have $8 million. I said, the first thing you got to do is just, follow your housing. Your housing is your biggest expense. And you notice that just moving, an hour and a half south. I mean, you saved a hell of a lot of money from moving from Arlington.
Yeah. And that's, and that thing that one of the scared us living in DC was any sort of interest rate adjustments. We had an arm, and so that was terrifying. I think you had to hang over your head. So
yeah, because you couldn't. I mean, how could you afford a house right out in Arlington without an adjust rate mortgage? You know what I'm saying? Because they're freaking so expensive up that way.
Right. And so that was hanging over our head. So now we have, and now we're just working, actually figuring out what we can do to get our mortgage paid off. So
yeah, that's the way to do it. That's once I get out from under this, I'll be a happy camper. That's for sure. That's the biggest concern I've got. Just real quick, when you decided to graduate college, what made you think about going to get your MBA instead of, I don't know, working on Wall Street or something like that? You know what I'm saying? But any thoughts on?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was moving from, I was working in airline industry, had like a deep understanding of technology. And really, I got tired of just taking orders all the time. So I said, I want to be the person who's like setting the strategy instead of just being on the receiving end. So I thought an MBA would be a good way to do that. And it did help with some of those things, but like I said, I don't know if it like fundamentally changed my career path, but it was, but it helped me think bigger, I would say, in terms of what I was doing in my career.
When Ben was working, I see Bruins are down 2-0. They lost the freaking stupid Canadiens, and then Detroit. Now they're losing again. I knew the good times wouldn't last. Bennett was working America West Airlines, and the last flight out of like in October up to Anchorage.
Remember? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we got on there for like I don't know, space or just as for some kind of we got to go to Anchorage for free, Alaska, and the memory I have of that. Don't tell our wives, but every now and again when Ben and I would hang out, we'd get a pack of Newports, and don't tell anybody. And this a long time ago, and so I used to take us a pictures. Those disposable cameras. Man, that stinks. Oh, that's not this guy. That's woo. You smell that?
No, never smelled it though.
Anyway, so I took a picture of what Ben was driving to Anchorage, and there's this pack of Newports on the dash. And I showing Charlotte these pictures, and she goes, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" I said, "Just hanging out." She goes, "Were you smoking cigarettes?" I said, "No." She goes, "Oh, why is this picture of Newports on the dash?" I got busted. Oh man! Not that we were smoking or anything. We just had the Newports to help the Alaskan economy. Anyway, I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no, enjoy.
That's my brother.
Right. Oh, Pablo, he's chasing me out of here.
Yeah, Pablo's saying, "Ben, get out of here with your stinky butt." It's actually Pablo. All right, so that's my brother. I can't imagine the Bruins being down. I can't say I'm shocked. Oh, all right, let's see what Pablo's trying to do there. He might be barking at some point, but yeah, my brother and I, my sister, we all have a good relationship, which is great. It's relationships. make you gotta relationships, being a human being. Well, you all know this. I mean, hell, I'm not telling you anything you don't, but just having, we don't talk every day. We're not that tight, in terms of, we're tight. We just don't talk all the time. My sister and I don't talk every day. But you do anything for them. And especially when you kind of know what they've been through. It's just, there's something humane about that, where you have family that you love, respect, and that just is a big deal. It's a big deal. And the whole point about that, why I'm saying that, is because it's so much more than just about money, if that makes sense. I mean, without relationships, I mean, you could be Mr. Burns, and you don't have Waylon Smithers there, then I mean, all that money in the world doesn't mean crap. I think it's important to remember that. So anyway, much obliged to any of you all who served. Absolutely. To be perfectly honest, I'm not one of those guys say, "Oh, you're a hero" or anything. I don't look, man. I don't buy that for 2 seconds. I never have. It's always kind of been embarrassing to me. Oh, the people are heroes. No, I mean, but they did what they were meant to do. But however that was, but the people who did serve on tomorrow is Veterans Day. Tomorrow is not Memorial Day. Two completely different things. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and much obliged to your service for sure. I don't look, man. I did the Army for 4 years. I guess what, 3 years, 3 active, 3 reserves. I can't remember, 6, 8 years, something like that. But anyway, you did what you're supposed to do. You show up, you do your job, you leave. That's what it was. I mean, it's great. I appreciate having the opportunity to serve, but I certainly appreciate the opportunity to have got GI Bill and the people I've met and all that. But in of itself, I appreciate all these companies that are doing things for veterans. I think it's great. I think it'd be stupid not to take advantage of it. But just I don't know, the accolades I think some veterans are desperate for is odd to me, because I don't think just doing your job makes you any more a hero than someone who didn't serve the military, if that makes sense. I think for me, in fact, Ben and I were just talking about this. Being a dad is a hell of a lot more important than anything else that's out there. As a man, now as a woman, being a mom, for sure. Nothing, in my opinion, is more important than that. And I don't give a crap if you served or not. I don't care if you freaking vote for Obama or vote for Trump. If you're there with your kids as a father or as a mom, and you're there for them through thick and thin, you are the hero. That's all there is to it, because they need you. And it's just one of the things that I always look back at our own family and say, I don't get why any father would not be there for his children. And situation dictates, I get that, but let's put the focus on where it should be, which is trying to get dads to stay with their families, if that makes sense. All right. My man Rob says he opened an M1 account. First foray into individual stock investing. Look, man, I don't think you should do that, Rob, for the entirety of your portfolio, but hell, to take some money and buy some stocks. I was talking to a guy 2 days ago, yesterday. Bought Apple. What did he say? He bought it for like $3 was his cost basis. Good boy, Pablo. $3. Apple made him a millionaire. He had like $350,000 still, and he sold it 4 times. So he sold Apple. I think he said like 4 times for the same amount, like $350,000. His cost base was like $15,000 or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was nuts. I said, that's freaking insane. So individual stock investing is luck, but man, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. This guy was lucky. I knew someone else too up in Tennessee, and she had, I mean, hell, this is freaking probably 5 years ago, like $300,000 of cash value in Apple stock. And she bought for $7 in 1997, because just like this guy, she liked the product. Crazy. All right. My man Scott says, get off welfare and get a job. The national debt will not pay itself. Is there going to be an index fund bubble? Actually, good. I was reading an article by my man Alan Roth, and if I can find it, I was just reading that this morning, as a matter of fact. And Alan Roth, if I can find it, do I have it up here? I don't know if I do. No, I don't. All right, let me see if I can't find this. Alan, it was actually pretty good. Alan Roth index bubble, and I'll read you a little bit from that, because right here. So if you get a chance, The Big Short whiffs on indexing. And I'll read you just a couple of thoughts on this. And if you're not familiar with Alan Roth, that's Allan, by the way, I'm a big fan of Alan's. I take issue, like all things, with a couple of things he writes, and that's fine. People take issue from me. and you'd be crazy too. But that's perfectly okay. But Alan's one of the good guys in the business. I had a guy email me a while back, said he hired Alan, and it was kind of funny. I can't remember who it was, but he said he was somewhat, I don't want to say disappointed, but he was somewhat underwhelmed by Alan's financial plan. I just kind of chuckled at that a little bit because I had a guy on my Google review, who lied about me. And he said I was nuts. He said we only talked for 20 minutes, that we didn't talk Roth conversions or estate planning. It was just weird. So, when I heard this guy email me about Alan, I just chuckled a little bit because, you don't know. I mean, everyone's perspective is different, but initially I was like, I was hard time believe that Alan would be negligent. What's the word I'm looking for? Would give short shift to providing good tax strategies, because he's a CPA by trade. And anyway, and it just kind of led me to this guy who lied about me on my own Google review page, who said that we only spent 20 minutes on the phone. We didn't talk about Roth conversions or estate planning. And I'm just like, dude, that's literally all I do. I talk Roth conversions, estate planning. Is weird. So anyway, I just you got to take all these reviews with a grain of salt. Look, I don't give a crap. I mean, people say what the hell they want to say. I don't care. I find it, and I'm embarrassed for the guy to lie. Do I worry that's going to affect me? No, I don't, because I know I do a good job. But I just you just got to remember, you got to take all this stuff with a grain of salt. So if anyone writes out there about Alan Roth, he is one of the good guys. I just want to be clear there. And look, I'm not saying anyone is. I'm just saying this one guy emailed me, and he's a regular on the YouTube channel. I enjoy him. I just, off the top of my head, I can't remember who it is, but I remember I said, "Oh, I'm surprised by this guy." And it wasn't negative on Alan, just he was underwhelmed. And I can't remember the whole situation, but everyone has their own opinion. So let's just put it that way. All right. So I want to read you some of this, what Alan says here, because why he's wrong. All right. So this is interesting. Before you sell your index funds and recognize large capital gains, says Alan, consider this. The largest U.S. index fund on the planet, VTI, the Vanguard Total Stock Index, has more of its assets invested in the top 10 stocks, 19%, than the entire Russell 2000 index, which represents a bit more than 7%. So the interesting thing is 19% of the entirety of the total stock index is in top 10 stocks. Think about that. That's nuts. The Russell 2000, which is a small cap index, is only 7% of the S&P, of the total stock index. Now that leads me to believe that I like the equal weighted indexes a little bit better, frankly. And the reason for that is because instead of having top heavy, we're playing basketball today, and my shoulders kind of, I had to skunk my brother because he thinks he's all down a bag of chips. I said, look, dude, I'm still your brother. All right, your older brother. Anyway, so a top heavy is you're going to have S&P 500, Russell 2000. So in this case, on the total stock index, the S&P 500 is representing about 70 to 75% of the total stock index. The small cap index is only 7%. And in this case, it's even worse because, like Alan was saying, 10 stocks represent 19% of the entirety of the total stock index. 10 stocks. It's nuts. So what an equal weighted index fund does, it just equalates them. So instead of being top heavy like this, it's just flat across the board. Every stock will have the same proportion. Now that overweights relatively to small companies, because small companies will be just as equally proportional weighted as Amazon. But the nice thing about that is, that small caps have in the past, this isn't debatable, have outperformed large small cap values. Now, I challenge that to some degree because of I'll show you. And Jeremy Siegel's book, Stocks for the Long Run, which you should certainly get. This would not be one of my top 3 books. I did a video yesterday on my top 3 books for you and why you should become a financial advisor. But Stocks for the Long Run by Jeremy Siegel, and this is the 4th edition, I think, or the 5th. The 5th edition, right? I don't know if he has the 6th edition. But what Siegel showed is that other than I think it's a 6-year period from like 77 to 83 or something like that, 1977 and 1983. Large and small roughly stayed the same, but in that time frame of those 6 years from 77 to 83, small caps dominated large, which makes them look like they outperformed historically. But other than that short amount of time, it's not true. So I thought that was interesting. Anyway, the point was, if small caps have outperformed, and they have, there's no getting around that. But if they've outperformed historically speaking, even if it is only for that 6 years, and you are way underweighted small caps because the total stock index only has 7% small caps, and you're leaving some profits on the table potentially. So equal weighted, you might want to do one of both, VTI and equal weighted, just to make sure you're covering both bases, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Equal weighted index, DFA, dimensional fund advisors will have some. What's his name? Rob Arnott over at Research Affiliates, RAFI Research Affiliates. I'm trying to think, but you can find equal weighted index. I think Schwab actually has equal weighted indexes now, which I'm a fan of without question. Anyway, so let's keep reading what Alan says. The largest 10 holdings of the total stock index are the most liquid stocks on the planet, far more liquid than the small cap space, which Burry claims is undervalued. So Burry's saying, hey, there's an index bubble because everything's kind of focused on these top stocks, and small cap has undervalued, and thus they're because there will always be there's more opportunity in small caps than the large caps. But like Alan was saying, well, no, the most liquid, the most heavily traded are these stocks on the top end, and heavily traded inherently means there is a price mechanism. In fact, a very, very efficient price mechanism. Hundreds of millions of shares are trading hands every day. That is not that is a significant pricing point. There's no, just as silly to say there's no pricing point, because what Burry is arguing about the index funds is everyone's going indexing. There won't be a buy and a sell. We won't be able to gather a price mechanism to dictate if this is a good buy or not. And socialism, the reason why socialism always fails is because there's no price. We don't know what the price mechanism is because everything is taken off the table. It's all socialized. So you can't sell your goods for what you think the value is. And what Burry's saying is because everything is so focused on passive indexing, there's not going to be a seller to buy, a buyer to sell. And it just is silly. So anyway, Alan Ross says, no, there's a significant price point. As far as the lack of price discovery goes, tell that to the holders of GE stock who have been so badly punished, or to Boeing after 737 MAX jets are grounded. So again, Alan's using two specific examples of price is absolutely out there. GE is getting hammered. That means there is many sellers, and that's why the price is going down. A whole lot more sellers than buyers. Thus, the demand is dropping off a cliff. Demand drops off the cliff, and you increase the supply. You're going to get a dropping price. Inherently proving the pricing mechanism that the index fund bubble theorists are worried about is not there. Now, I think you can make a case. The bubble in the top 10, sure. I don't have any problem with that. You can make a bubble that. I don't know if it is a bubble. It's just highly valued stocks that they could be overpriced. You want to make a case for that? Sure. But in terms of the index fund itself being a bubble, that's just silly. So market volatility is a sign of vigorous price discovery. While a bit of exaggeration, I agree with financial theorist William Bernstein, who says, I'm often asked how many active participants are necessary to maintain market efficiency. 2 dentists having lunch in Lubbock are enough market participants to maintain market efficiency, i.e. you got a buyer, you got a seller, you got both sides of the trade. As long as you have 2 people, you're going to be fine. Unless there's some kind of government regulation, which is what happened with mark-to-market accounting in 2008. Let's see. Burry is right that investors, again, this is ignoring talk about index fund bubble. Burry is right that investors generally exit after poor performance, but he fails to mention that they do this far more in actively managed funds than in index funds. Index funds are geared towards longer-term investors, and index funds owners and target date retirement funds are particularly stable. Vanguard shows an index funds account for only about 10% of the global investable market and 5% of daily trading volume. So index investors only account for 1 out of 20 trades, if that makes sense, on a daily basis. So where would the index bubble be from a pricing point or a sale to buy rate? It's not there. Anyway, I've been concerned for a while with so much money pouring into stock funds and that index funds are the larger contributor, but that's a risk to the stock market, not index funds per se. A more than 10-year-old bull market isn't likely to last another decade. So when I advise people to sell some of their index funds is to rebalance to a target asset allocation rather than any flaws or an index fund. Index funds are nothing like CDOs, collateral debt obligations that we've all known what they are now from 2008. For my stock allocation, Alan says he's 100% focused on broad low cost index funds. So I'm not worried about it, Jody, not an issue at all. Tom says there's a YouTube guy named Joseph Carlson that shows his dividend portfolio in M1 Finance. You should check it out. That's cool, man. Hey, what's up, Kenny? Tejas. Isis says Pablo, hello, and from Florida. Mike was a 2011 was a Afghanistan military intelligence contractor. Right on. Don't wear headphones. Peter says, don't wear headphones when Pablo barks. Go Sox. Ben says he's getting worried that my surviving spouse will not know all the stuff we are learning from Josh, trying to figure out how to handle that. Would love to have it all on autopilot when I die. Yeah, man. I get that a lot, Rob. A lot of people, they say, actually this last week the women were the ones in charge and the men were just kind of along for the ride more often than not, which is not typical, but it's not unusual, but I was pleasantly surprised. That's interesting. I don't know what the answer is. Like I tell my wife all the time, her issue is just making sure the kids don't die. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that. Maybe the answer to that would be if you could show them something like, Mrs. Smith down the street, her husband fell off the roof, putting new shingles on, and he's dead, and now she doesn't know what to do. Or I don't know. I mean, I'm just using that for an example. Fear is always a good motivator for sure. Hey, Peter. Peter is a former Maine and now in Florida. Shocking that. Where are you from, Peter? Scott says, dude, I think it's Scott. Dude looks nothing like me. I know Ben's always got gray earlier than I did. Always had deep, hard, very, very black hair with a big widow's peak. And so Ben was perfect for a vampire. It's funny, growing up, my grandpa got us these two shirts. I had a USC Trojan shirt, and Ben had a Notre Dame 12 football shirt. And I swear to God, every picture that we have growing up, Ben was in that Notre Dame 12. I wonder if he ever took it off. I don't think he did. I think I had my USC Trojan shirt on quite a bit, but not nearly to the extent that my brother had his Notre Dame 12 football shirt on. He wore that sucker like, man, he probably still wears it. Too cold up there in Portland, right on. There's got Scott. Thanks for your aid, Rana. Yeah, the Bahama Beach is always cold. Any beach up there, man, is always cold. My wife was just telling me that PEI, my man Ross is on here, is actually warmer than all beaches in the Atlantic until you get to about, I think she said North Carolina. So Prince Edward Island apparently has warmer beaches than anything, even from New Jersey, Virginia, even all. So that I thought was pretty interesting. All right, so we got Ben says, make sure you go to Applebee's tomorrow because they are discounted. Applebee's just never did much for me. I don't know. Chili's, Applebee's, I don't know. Didn't do much. All right. So Mushki says, should I put on hold retirement contributions for 4 to 6 months to pay off my car? Dave Ramsey says, be completely debt free except for mortgage before funding retirement. Yeah, the only thing I'd say is, are you getting a match? If you're getting a match, I'd take advantage of the match. If you're not getting a match, Mushki, yeah, probably. I kind of know your circumstance because we've had email exchanges before, so I think I would pay that car off. Just get it done without question. I don't want to be flippant here, but yeah, I mean, why? If you get the car loan done, but if you do get a match, don't put off your retirement contributions simply because you want to take advantage of that free money. Thoughts on having all of your emergency fund invested? Not a fan, but Two scenarios. So one is for me, my emergency fund at some point will be the Ginnie Mae of Vanguard, VFIIX, VFIIX. And the reason for that, well, let me bring it up. If you go to finance.yahoo.com and you type in VFIIX, why I like, I'm not a huge fan anymore of the Yahoo Finance website, but what I do like about it is they show the year over year performance going back to inception, which is fantastic. And if we look at the Vanguard Ginnie Mae, right now, according to actually, what's it paying here? I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's see. According to Yahoo, is paying 2.84, so you're getting almost 3%. But if you look at the historical holdings, the performance it's been around since 1980 and has only had 2 down years. And so that would be in 2013, it was down 2.25. And then in 1994, it was down 0.95. So the Ginnie Mae is literally a government bond fund. And we know this because in 2008, the Ginnie Mae was up 7.25, where all other investments other than government bonds were getting killed. So for me, I'm looking, at some point, I would like to move my emergency money into the Ginnie Mae to get a little bit better of a yield. It's liquid. You just have access to it. It's literally 100% government bonds for sure. So I'm just a huge fan of that. Now, would I invest my emergency money in stocks? No, no way, man. I wouldn't. Now, what I would say is that I've recommended people before, if they have no emergency fund and they're young, I would take out money, use a credit card and put 5 or whatever the max, I guess $6,000 into a Roth. And then just do the 0% credit card transfer thing until that sucker's paid off. And I would invest that money 100% aggressively. So if I'm 26 years old, I got no money saved, I'm borrowing on a credit card, man. I'm gonna put it into a Roth IRA and let that sucker grow. Recognizing that, hopefully I don't get any interest due on my credit card. I can do the 0% balance transfer thing. But if not, I still think it's worth it because the amount of money and potential that money could grow to between now and 65 is significant relative to the short-term hit you're going to take on cash flow for paying off that credit card. And if the market goes, if you absolutely positively had to have money overnight, you can tap into your Roth for the principal. I mean, that's just a fact. Now, your principal might not be there. It might go down from $6,000 to $3,000. I get that. But that would seem to me the one time I'd invest my emergency money if I'm just starting out and I'm starting to build something. So I want that sucker to grow for years and years and years to come. So you got it, ISIS. Thanks for our service. Right on. Yeah, Ben wasn't as smart as me. That's why he had to join the Marine Corps. I'm just joking. We love our Marines. Steve is late. Unacceptable. Where's my beard? Man, every now and again I try growing. I mean, it's probably about as heavy as I get it. It just itches too much, man. And I always get a space right there. And I won't say if you know why you get a space in your beard. If anyone knows why you get a space where you're trying to grow a beard. Anyway, it itches too much, man. Every now and again I try. It doesn't look good. It doesn't. My brother has always had more of a different face than I. He's a bigger boy. He's always been husky, if you know what I'm saying. So the tough skins we used to wear growing up, he'd always get the husky, and I would get the whatever petite. I don't know what they were because I was always small. But Ben was always, he was always husky, big boned. He was a catcher, let's just put it that way, and a middle linebacker for football. And I never liked any of that stuff. I was center fielder or second base and the cornerback. So the different body styles for sure. I know a lot of folks in NBAs, and lots of them are truck drivers and police officers. Yeah, Muskie says her companies can provide a great pension, though she'll get $4,000 a month at retirement. Yeah, I mean, in that case, I think it's a coin flip, Mushki, to pay off your car relative to continuing to invest. I don't know if you're part of Social Security. But if my memory serves, I think you are paying into Social Security. So if you are, you can get $4,000 a month on your pension. Probably at least 2,500 on Social Security. I mean, that's 6,500 bucks a month right there, and that's a pretty good place to be. Bangor, Maine, yeah, Bruins down 2-0. Freaking, and you know the Pats, man, they're done for. The Pats are done. Yeah, it's University of Washington, so she has state pension that they contribute. Then there's a 401k that she contributes as well. So, yeah, if they don't if they don't contribute to your 401k, Mushki, because you're getting the pension, I'd just go ahead and pay the car off. Absolutely. Mariette, Wisconsin. Thanks for all your videos. Learn more. You got it, Pete. Right on. 32,000 car loan. All right. I don't know if I agree with my man Tom. A car loan at 0% is like free money. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't agree with that. It's because you're still paying out, and you're paying out on a thing that's dropping in value. So it's free loan, but it's not free because it's still cash flow out. I mean, obviously you need to have a car. I got no qualm with that. I'm not arguing that. But remember, at the end of the day, it's still money going out the door, and it's easier to pay money to go out the door when you have income coming in as opposed to when you're retired on your fixed income. So I would pay that car loan off, I think. Kathleen says from New Jersey, a salute to all vets out there, including my 93-year-old dad. Wow, World War II Army Air Corps. Right on, man. Blessings to your dad there, Kathleen. Heroes are the people. I don't want to sound like I'm saying veterans aren't heroes. I mean, but I didn't do combat or anything like that. I mean, I'm just some dude. But some of those guys throughout history who, I mean, just freaking. That's why I hate war. How many productive members of society, how many cures for cancer have we not found because of stupid wars? Now, thankfully, I have heroic men and a few women that called, but a lot of these guys were forced into fighting and dying and giving out limbs because of draft for some stupid politician or some stupid king's war. I hate it. I hate it without question. And I look at the true heroes would be, those guys, and like I was talking about last week on Valley Forge, the Newt Gingrich book where he talks about these guys. The Valley Forge by Newt Gingrich is an incredible read. These guys had no shoes on their feet. They're supposed to have structures set up so when they hit Valley Forge, when they left Philadelphia, they'd have a place to live, and they had nothing. They just go down there to 2 feet of snow and freaking insanely cold weather with no shovels, no gear, nothing, just no tents, no shelter. Those people, I'm sitting there thinking, and they had no clue what they were doing was going to be where we are today, which is why Antifa can kiss my butt, because the idea that America is the bad guy is insane. America is a good guy, and good guys always do bad things. America has done our own for sure, but we are the good guys. So kiss my butt if you're anti-American. I just literally could care less what that opinion is. It's silly. But those guys are heroes for sure. But just because you wore a uniform, that doesn't make you a hero. I don't want to say it bothers me. I just wish we'd get off that. But a guy who flies, my granddad flew a test pilot in the Navy. He never saw combat, but a test pilot in the Navy is a pretty doggone dangerous job. To me, that's a hero. But so aren't other people who do other things outside the military, for sure. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, like your dad, Kathleen, I mean, that's a hero without question, without question. Families of people who have to let you in at 2 a.m. when you're knocking on their door. Yeah, Carl says men often lose their children in family court. Carl, 100% agree. Trust me on that. I completely agree with that. But with that said, men also walk away from their obligations. Now, look, man, I know the courts are discriminatory against men. That's not debatable. Men have no choice in this day and age of a baby should be brought to term. We all know this stuff. Hell, I think they just found, who was it? There's a guy who was forced to pay child support for a kid I can't remember what it was. It's like, that's slavery. Some guy had nothing to do with it. I can't remember what the whole story was. But I was reading this and he was forced to pay child support. And I don't think it was his kid, or I can't remember what it was. It's like, this isn't slavery. There's no other way around that. But at the end of the day, Men have an obligation to take care of the kids they bring to this world. That's all there is to it. Now, if your circumstance is such that your ex is, freaking crazy and she, whatever, I don't know. I mean, that situation always dictates, but generally speaking, my wish is that men would father less children by multiple women. Let's just put it that way, because there's no way they're supporting these kids. David says he's found my channel a couple weeks ago, and thanks for my guys. Right on, man. Oh, they're going to hope to retire this summer. Right on, brother. Where are you going to retire to? Sandra just reached out to me on LinkedIn. Much obliged, Sandra. Like to build that LinkedIn presence. I'm not on there all that much, but every now and again I get on there. So I'm much obliged for finding me on LinkedIn. So, David, where's the summer retirement find you? Where are you going to be? Michelle, right on. My brother has the goods on me. Yeah, that's why some people say run for office. I'm like, nope. The skeletons are knee deep in my closet, and he knows some of them, not all of them, but some of them. Best ways policies to grow death benefit and whole life insurance. So D Moon says best way for policies to grow death benefit in a whole life insurance so that the benefit grows with CPI or some modest measure of inflation. Well, whole life insurance would, I would think, keep up with the consumer price index, because generally speaking, you're going to get a guaranteed minimum of like 2.5 to 3. But see, the problem with whole life insurance, or the problem with any permanent life insurance, is the crediting rate is not the interest rate you're getting. To this day, it still ticks me off. Last year, we had a fresh-faced life insurance agent, and he worked for a firm that I won't mention, but it was a good firm. But they had a crediting rate of 5.5 to 6% for over 150 years, and he didn't understand the difference between a crediting rate and an interest rate. So he was saying you're going to get 5.5 to 6, or you've received 5.5 to 6% interest on your money going back for 150 years. And they did not. And so I said, okay, so let me ask you a question. If I put $100,000, a drop in one-time premium in your policy, what's my cash value in 10 years? And he hemmed and hawed, and it was like $103,000. I said, how am I getting 5.5 to 6% interest if my cash value is $103,000 after 10 years when I put in $100,000 of interest of initial premium, what's called a drop in? And his thing, well, the cost of insurance, the commission, yep, the expenses. I said, exactly. And then he said, well, yeah, but the first 10 years, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, what's it going to be after 20 years? I think it was like 115,000. And I said, okay, so $100,000 drop in. I'm getting we'll just say 5.5% interest rate. And I fast forward 20 years now, and I got $115,000 guaranteed cash value. Where is the interest rate of 5.5 to 6%? And he said, well, the cost of insurance. And I said, exactly. So what happens is you're getting a crediting rate, we'll just say 6%. So if this were an interest rate, you'd have $100,000 would go to, it's pretty simple stuff here. I dump in $100,000. If I'm getting 6% interest rate, I have $106,000 a year later. There's no way around that. But if I'm getting a crediting rate of 6%, all right, and I put $100,000 in there, but instead I have $98,000 of cash value after a year, what is my cost? So my crediting rate is 6%, but my cost of insurance is 8%. My cost of not just insurance, but my cost of the policy to pay the commissions, my cost of the expenses that the insurance company charges, the cost of COI, cost of insurance, all that. So just because you're getting a 6% crediting rate, if it's costing you 8%, you're not making any money, man. And when you factor in these pretty significant commissions, because a lot of these guys, they get 63% of the first year premium in commission. 63% of the first year premium. So on $100,000 single pay, they're getting $63,000. Now, every company is different. I don't know what the commissions are today. I mean, I'm talking a few years back since I was in that side of things, but 63% of first year premium. Thus, the insurance company has to make that money up by giving you significant less cash value than what you put in for the first 10 years, because they got to make that commission up that they got to pay out to the agent. And they do that by making your cash value basically way low than what you initially put in for the first 10 years. I mean, look, some are 12. You can look at any policy. That's the way it works, man. This is really not debatable. And so what's happening is after about 10 years, you're essentially broken even. And now the next 10 years, you should be getting the 5.5 to 6, but you're still not. And the reason is because you still have a cost of insurance. As every year you get older, the cost of insurance goes up because you're more likely to die. You still have the insurance company expenses, that all the stuff they have to do. And then on top of that, you got to look at the interest rates that are out there. So at the end of the day, a whole life policy will give you a 3%. I'm just using that guaranteed minimum. But that doesn't mean that's a 3% interest rate. It's a crediting rate, how much they're crediting to your account, but then how much are they going to take out of your account later because of the fees. So I'm actually a fan. Let me just real quick. I can check the sports scores real quick. Hold on just a second. I'm a fan of Universal Life right now. And the reason that for some people, hold on just a second. I want to see if I got to see if the Panthers pulled it out. Nope, they did not. It sucks. Anyway, so I'm a fan of UL right now for younger people, and UL is Universal Life because the risk is on you. All right. So right now the interest rates are so low, hard to see the interest rates going, down to even worse than where we are today. So that could happen, but at the end of the day, with Universal Life, you are assuming the risk. All right, you as the insured or the owner of the policy, which you can be the same, are assuming the risk. And so what you're saying is, look, man, at the end of the day, their interest rates are so low right now that there's a good chance this policy could lapse later on down the road if I don't put enough cash in there to basically cover the cost of increasing insurance with a low interest rate. I know it's confusing as all can be, but just hear me out. If the interest rates go up, though, you're going to receive the benefits of a higher interest rates in the future. And especially as that cash accumulates, you're going to receive more and more of a benefit as the interest rates grows up. So I'm a fan of Universal Life now for younger people who are going to fund this policy well. And what I mean is to make sure that they're putting a good amount of premium each and every year. I talked to a guy, I think he's 33 the other day. And he was talking about doing 5,000 a year into a policy. I said, Universal Life is great because he's 33, he's in great shape. He's going to get a very, very high rating. Well, I hate to say rating, but because rating means you're not underwritten well, but he'll be underwritten very, very well because he's in good shape. So he's going to be highly satisfactory in terms of his approval on underwriting for life insurance, which means his cost of insurance is going to be dirt low. He's young, he's not likely to die, and he's going to put a bunch of money in there each and every year for the next 25 years. So for him, doing 5,000 a year in a universal life policy with the interest rates way low, and a good chance the interest rates go up over the course of his life expectancy, I think that could be a good move. So a lot going on there, D-Moon, but I think universal life and policies are something to look at just because the interest rates are low. As long as you're younger, have many years to allow that to cash value to accumulate, and are in good health without question. All right, we got Bindi Ghosh is late to the party, and you missed it, man. You missed it. What's going on? Tardy. I'm gonna give you a tardy slip. Marie, hey Marie, que paso. Tim says, happy Veterans Day to my nephew, Captain Tate, USAF, Pentagon, Air Force, right on. All right, so Bindi says, talk about an annuity for a 40-year-old couple trying to retire in 10 years. Okay, so when I hear the word annuity, many different things come to mind. An income annuity, a deferred fixed annuity, or a variable annuity. So I'm not sure what type we're talking about. Just remember, if you're 40 and you're going to retire in 10 years and you have an annuity contract, unless you annuitize it, you can't have access to that money, the earnings that you have without a penalty. 10% penalty, just like a premature withdrawal of an IRA. Just keep that in the back of your mind. So if you're 50 years old and you're trying to take money out from your deferred annuity, it doesn't work. I mean, it can, but you're going to pay a 10% penalty because you're under the age of 59 and a half. Just be advised. So now you can annuitize it and you'd avoid that for sure. But man, at a 50-year-old annuitizing, I don't think I'm keen on that so much. So I need to know more what you're trying to do. The B on your hat sounds for Bitcoin. Actually is for Boston Bruins, but actually it's funny. In Portsmouth, New Hampshire, they had a Bitcoin store. I'll never forget that, about a year and a half ago. And I wonder if that store is still open. Hold on just a second. I took a picture. I posted it one time on Facebook when I was on Facebook because I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it kind of showed the level of madness of crowds in favor of Bitcoin. So let's see if the Portsmouth, New Hampshire Bitcoin store is still open. Portsmouth, New Hampshire Bitcoin store. Let's see if it's, yeah, Free State Bitcoin is what it's called. freestatebitcoin.com. And the reason I like Bitcoin, I don't own any, but it's open by appointment only. But they have, I don't think that doesn't look like it's open. Because they only have 2018 on their website. The last post was November 15th, 2018. Yeah, I bet that's closed up. I bet the Free State Bitcoin store is not open anymore. I don't know that to be true. You'd have to look at it, but yeah, I bet that's not open, which is too bad. Yeah. Anyway, the reason I like the Free State Bitcoin store, and Bitcoin generally speaking, is a libertarians just they away from fiat money. I don't necessarily crypto in of itself. I'm not sure I'm convinced in it yet, but any way you can get competition is a good thing, and competition through currency is also a good thing for sure. I'm just not sure if this place is still open. So they got a number on there. 603-617-4368, the Free State Bitcoin. I don't know. That's too bad. The B is for Bernie, right, man? The B is for Bernie. Keep hope alive. Oh, my lands. Peter Burnell from Portland, right on. Yeah, I know. Bindi Ghosh, man. Oh, my lands. Peter, what high school did you go to? I mean, you're probably a little bit older than me, given you moved to Florida. I don't know, but are you born and raised in Portland? We got another man, Dana, on here, and Dana's I don't know if he's on here tonight, but he's from Portland. He went to Deering High School. Green Bay, Raleigh, North Carolina. Green Bay game was wild with snow. Let's see. Any chance we'll see a change in the 170 joint income limit on one Medicare? Yeah, we did that. I did that earlier. Let's see, the 2020 Medicare premiums for the IRMA are going up to 174 for 2020, Jim. So 174, if you break that 174 level, you'll be paying a 40% premium. But it looks like they stretch out the brackets because you don't get up until the 2 times until you hit 218. So 174, you're paying 40% more in premium. 218, married, filing jointly, you're paying twice. You're paying double the Medicare premium. So yeah. Look up Arlo the reverse mortgage dog. He looks like Pablo. Is it really an Arlo the reverse mortgage dog? That's fantastic. Heard a money quote from someone. I told my son the same. If I have money, you have money. He was doing good, but just want him to know. Right on. John and I had spoken, actually. He spoke to me, and he sent me his book on reverse mortgages back there. Let's see. So Don Graves out of Philly has written this book, The Retiree's Guide to Housing Wealth, by Don Graves. And I'm a fan of Don. I like Don quite a bit. And Housing Wealth for Advisors. I haven't read them yet, frankly, because I've read Ways, and I'm pretty comfortable with the concept of reverse mortgages. But I'm sure Don's got some good stuff in here too. Don actually, he said a couple. It was interesting. He had a little bit of a different take than Wade. I like Don quite a bit actually. But it's a good book if you're looking into reverse mortgages. I think you should look at Don Graves, and he's head of Housing Wealth Institute. You need to set up a program for young people. I wish I knew then what I do now. The first thing they should get is that book right there over my shoulder, Strategic Money Planning. That is for my younger days, CJ. That's what they should get without question. I tell all younger folks, get the flipping book. It'll share with you my mistakes and how I would be richer if I did not make these mistakes. We got Tom says, in effort not to take any more risks than possible by investing in everything except cash and mutual funds. Is there any? Yeah, Ginnie Mae, right? 100% right. Tom, I'm a huge fan of Ginnie Mae. I mean, I can't make that recommendation because I don't know your circumstance, but you don't want to take any more risks than possible. And the Ginnie Mae is a great fund for that, for sure. Now, can something dastardly happen to Ginnie Mae? Sure. I mean, things dastardly can happen to anybody, anytime, for sure. I don't know what the future holds, you don't, but the facts are it's government guaranteed bonds without question. Now they're backed by mortgages, all right? But they're still explicitly backed by the federal government. GinnieMae.gov. GINNIEMAE. GinnieMae. In fact, you know something? Let me go here. I'm going to show you. Let's go to GinnieMae.gov. I keep forgetting I could. So let me share my screen. Oops. I'm going to share my screen, my friends, and we're going to go to right here. All right. So I'm screen sharing now, and I want to go here to hide floating right there. So Ginnie Mae. All right. So here's a Ginnie. All right. Here's a GinnieMae.gov. Our mission is to bring global. See here. I want to show you. They changed the website since last time I saw it. Hold on just a second. The market. Our mission is to bring global capital to the housing finance system, a system that runs to the core of our nation's economy while minimizing risk to the taxpayer. For 50 years, Ginnie Mae has provided liquidity and stability, serving as a principal financing arm for government mortgage loans and ensuring that mortgage lenders have the necessary funds to provide loans to customers. Ginnie Mae, and they used to say, and they changed a little bit around here. So there it is. Since 1968, Ginnie Mae has leveraged the government guarantee at minimal cost and risk to the American taxpayer, while dramatically lowering the cost of finding a home for millions of households. Here's how they operate. Loans issued to veteran home buyers. That's me. 2.9 million veterans have got their loans, me via PenFed, or initially Navy Federal Credit Union, but then Pentagon Federal Credit Union, guaranteed by Ginnie Mae because I have a VA loan. And that's, I'm telling you, man, that's what makes it, in fact, we go to FAQ. And this is GinnieMae.gov, by the way. Let's see. Well, I'm not going to search for this. Let's see, Ginnie, let's see if they say anything here. All right, well, you can all look at that, but I, I'm a huge fan of Ginnie Mae. I've been a huge fan of Ginnie Mae for a long time. In fact, I used to, back in the day, I used to want to have Ginnie Mae. I wanted $1 million when I was time at 65 and live off the interest from Ginnie Mae. That was back when I worked at Vanguard, when Ginnie Mae was paying 6.5%. Those days are long gone. But anyway, I'm a fan of Ginnie Mae, and that doesn't mean you should be, but I'm a big fan for sure, as you can tell. Real quick, I was doing I'm going to talk about this. Look at this right here. So this is from this page 23 to 40. I wonder if I was researching this today for my brother came. I was going to do a video on it, I just ran out of time. But anyway, how to best annuitize defined contribution assets. And if we go back to page 20, can I go here? Well, let me do that. 20. No. All right. So I got to scroll down. I'm going to just go to the page right here. I want to show you guys something right here. All right. Let me move myself out of the way. Median defined contribution wealth and annual Social Security benefit for households age 65 in 2016. So this is the median, 50% or above, 50% or below. For single women, or let's go married couple first, the median defined contribution wealth 401k is $275,000. 275. It's weird how we don't hear about that, isn't it? We don't hear about the median. We hear about averages, or we hear about averages for basically every, freaking Tom, Dick, and Harry. But for someone who's 65, a married couple, assumes they're 65 years old, their median defined contribution wealth is $275,000, and the median Social Security benefit is $28,000. Taking it at 65, it says right there, assumes claiming at 65. So if I can get my trusty calculator, oh, here it is. And we're going to say, we're going to go for until their full retirement age at 67, 28. That's $33,000 of income right there at 67 without even including COLAs. All right. So we got $33,000 of income at 67. We'll just say it grows to $300,000. So if you're 67 years old, the median married couple has $300,000. They have $33,000 of Social Security benefit. That's not a bad place to be, man. That is not a bad place to be at all. In fact, I'll show you part of my course here. This is my course, all the different chapters we got, just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff. And what we'll see here is we got how Charlotte and Josh can retire with only $238,000. And that's what we're going to show you in my course. And the irony of it all is I have them with less than the median. And yet we're going to show you how they can retire very simply with only $238,000. And actually, I'm going to show you single Susie. We're got a lot of single Susie different calculations as well, and how she can do the same with a whole lot less than 200. I'm going to take my hat off because I'm getting hot, even though my hair is kind of messed up. We got hat head. Anyway, isn't that interesting? So the median woman, 65 years old, has $110,000 at 65 with a Social Security benefit of $14,514. In fact, it's interesting because I use single Susie here, almost identical to these numbers. And I came across this just this morning. I had done my course well before I came across these numbers. They match almost precisely to what I have. It's very interesting. So I thought that was pretty interesting to show you because a lot of people have, oh my goodness, we're all going to run out of money. And I'm like, well, if the median married couple has 275 and single Susie has 137,000 or whatever, 135,000, is she going to make it? Well, she's going to make it. And I'll show you why in my course. So anyway, keep that in mind. All right, let's go on here. We got, and again, that was from the Boston College, best time to annuitize your retirement assets. Right here. I'm hesitant to, so hold on just one second. Let me unshare my screen because I want to show you something else here real quick. If I can find my PDF. No, that's not it. I don't think that's it either. Hold on just a second. Nope. Yeah, I can't find it. Well. Yeah, come back. All right, so I was hoping to find my, I'd marked it up pretty heavily, that 43 pager this morning, and I was going to share some with you. I'll do that tomorrow in video. Actually, real quick too, just while I'm thinking about it, just while I'm yapping here. All right, so this is from, oh, here we go. Oops. I can make myself smaller. Where do I make myself smaller? Here. I don't know. Huh. All right. So anyway, we're going to put me over here. I'm trying to make this bigger. There we go. All right, cool. How do I make it smaller? I'm not sure how to do that. All right. So I want to show you something here too. Oh, there we go. Sweet. Hey. All right, cool. So this right here is from the, I'll show you, BLS, Bureau of Labor, Consumer Expenditure Survey from the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics. And I want to show you something. I thought this was interesting. We're going to have food consumption. All right. So their food consumption for a 65 and older group cohort. So 65 and older, their mean, this is average, food consumption is $6,600, $6,600. All right. Now watch this though, it's very interesting. Of which 4,009 is at home, meals prepared at home, which is 8% of their total expenditures. So food as a whole is 13% of their total expenditures. 8% is for preparing food at home. But watch this. We're going to show you something. I'm always looking for ways to reduce costs in retirement. Oh, I'm going to show you. Watch. Food away from home is right there. So 5.1% of a retiree's total expenses is food away from home. All right, so food away from home is pretty significant of an expense. Is well more than half of food in home. So one of the things you can do if you're retired and you worry about not running out of money is prepare your own food. Look at that, $4,009 food at home, $2,580 food away from home. And the reason for that is because food away from home is a hell of a lot more expensive than food at home. I just thought that was interesting. So if you're interested in ways to reduce your cost, well, don't eat out so much, man. That's all there is to it. And it's just interesting again, because 13%. So if we present value this, $6,600 is a mean, that's the average, not the median, that's the average. The average, we're just going to use this. If that is the amount that we're going to spend in our household for food, and we do net present values and all this discounting, what is the lump sum we need as per the Fidelity and all the healthcare scary tactics that we need $300,000 for healthcare? Well, we just do the same thing here for food. Yeah, see what I'm talking about? I find that to be so just overblown as people get all, oh my goodness, I need 300,000. And yet look at housing. This is from 2018. Housing, 16,940 is representative of your biggest expense for people 65 and older, which a third of your income goes to. A third of your income goes to housing, of which the shelter, your actual home, is 9,300. All right, then we go down here, mortgage interest and charges, because a lot of people 65 don't have mortgage interest and charge, yay. But then we go down property taxes. 4.5% of your total income goes to property taxes. Anyway, natural gas, look at that. Give me fossil fuels or give me death. Look at that. Natural gas, only less than 1% is spent on natural gas. 2.9% is spent on electricity. So that's fantastic. All utilities, fuels, water, public services is 7.5%. So I just found that interesting. So let me go back to, let's go back if I can make this. So there we go. All right, cool. So we want to come back over here. Hey. All right. As far as, okay. What about starting a Roth with Social Security at age 67 with $2,300 per month? As long as you have, Carol, as long as you got earned income, sure, absolutely. If you got earned income, more power to you. But if you don't have earned income, you can't. So you have to have earned income to start a contributory Roth. Absolutely. Tom says, I would save the Apple and Microsoft stocks for other account. I'm not sure. I didn't see where that came from. Retirement bucket 1, cash and CDs. Bucket 2, Vanguard VTI, says Brett. Man, I got no qualm with you there, brother. No problem there at all. My man Vic says, don't forget to press the like button. Thanks for the thought, Vic. We got We got one person downvoting. I think that's my brother's wife. She said, Ben, I didn't realize you're going to go see your brother, so I'm giving you a downvote. My brother Ben's wife's on here and is downvoting me. Just joking. So yeah, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, please do. Appreciate it. See, love your show, says Robert. Right on, Robert. Appreciate it. Enjoying your channel from Arkansas, says David. Mary's joining late. Just unacceptable. Unacceptable. What are we going to do? What are we going to do about these people? Oh, my goodness. Al said officially retired at 65. I'm just joking, by the way. I love Mary. She can be late anytime she wants. Retired at 65. Medicare discount coffee. I'm not sure what that means. 215 401k, taking 40,000, 2 years from 401k with 10,000 going to mortgage and tax for 401k. Taking Social Security at 68 and mortgage left will be. Oh, that makes sense. Why not take Social Security at 70? Just keep pulling it from your 401k though. So Al Butner is 65. He's going to take money from his 401k to live on, it looks like. Take Social Security at 68, but he'll still have 3 years left in mortgage. I mean, why not just keep taking your 401k until you hit 70 and take advantage of the delayed earnings credits? I mean, literally, if you think about it, people say all the time, well, Social Security, you might die early and then it'll be worth less than if you took it early. I mean, yeah, I get that. But, at the same point, you still got to say, I'm getting 8% guaranteed on Social Security and I'm getting X on other things. So I mean, yeah, you might die, right? I mean, that's fact. And you won't care because you're dead. You're dead. You might die. I get that. But man, that 8% delayed earnings credits is awful. Oof. It's tough to turn down, in my opinion. Ally Savings Bank at 1.8. Jason says, I wonder will it be in 5 to 10 years? I don't know, man. Yeah. Tom says, don't bring a mortgage into retirement. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I just look the mortgage, and if you can have no mortgage, man, that's number one rule. It really is. Have no mortgage in retirement is rule number one, because of just the numbers I just showed you, which is that the housing is so far away the biggest expense that if you can reduce that, man, you're going to be yeah, but Ginny, he should have already had no mortgage. You can't say that. You don't know what his circumstances are. Don't do that, because we don't know. I mean, my goodness, we don't know it sounds like you're judging, and don't do that, because we don't know what the circumstances are. So we don't want to say that. Ben says our life insurance policies pay us 4.5% minimum interest cash value. The cost of insurance is the cost of insurance is covered by the cash back and additional interest. They signed up for this program around 1980. That's the critical thing. Exactly, Ben. I mean, you bought it when the get was good, and we didn't know the get was good until 2020 Ted Williams like hindsight. Yeah, let's go Bruins. Yeah. All right. I was going to take out the cash value of the policies, but see, Ben, I wouldn't do that. If you're getting 4.5, that's tax free, man. Tax free, guaranteed. Yeah. All right. So Al says, yeah, responded Janine that life threw him a couple curveballs where he would have no mortgage. Exactly. My man Rob is giving me $4.99. Great info as usual. For an attorney, Rob's a good guy, and Rob is, oh man, it's Starling. Watch the beach is calling his name. Watch the rest later. Oh man, that's right on, Starling. You're a good man. I don't care what they say. He's sitting at the beach right now as a Navy vet. That's called the super chat. So if you guys are desperate to lose some of your money to your old buddy Josh, and you want to do a super chat, I can't remember how to do it actually, but I think it has a super chat thing on the bottom, and you can give me money, and I'll be happy to take it. And I might just buy another Boston Bruins hat. Huh? All right, let's see. Okay, Warner Robbins, right on. Mac, right on. Hope you didn't Local grocery stores, Bitcoin vending machines. Wow. Bitcoin vending machines. Huh. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. All right. So Peter went to Portland High School. Right on. I went to Portland for my first semester of my freshman year. Used to walk where King High School, middle school was, and they had, I think it's still there. And they had the Portland the football stadium. And I think that's where the Sea Dogs play now. And I used to live right off that 95. It was 495. And we would live right off there and have to walk down the bridge, going past King, going through Deering Oaks, and all the way over to Portland High School. And then we did that that was where I went to school for the first 6 months. Let's see. Janine got a thumbs up, right on. You got it, Jim. Remember, your Medicare premium is based on your income from 2 years ago. That's right, Ms. Constitutionalist. Yep, you got it. SPIA, 1,000 a month, or just keep the 2,000 in a pretty liquid and just keep the 2,000 pretty liquid and just take 1K a month from it. Okay, so it's a good question. So what we're going to do here, we got a SPIA for 1,000 a month. All right, so we're going to times that by 12. That's going to give us $12,000. And then we got $2,000 is the lump sum. So we're going to divide 12 by 2,000, 200,000. So this is how we're going to figure out. And I don't know how old my man Turtle is, but 1,000 a month times 12 is 12,000. We have $12,000 a year that we're going to get. We're going to divide that into $200,000 to see what our payout rate is. And that looks like what? 6%, right? The 6% payout rate. Let me just double check with my trusty calculator because I don't trust my math. So 12 divided by 2, that's 6%. So we do have a 6% payout rate. That's pretty good. Now, I don't know if that's for a single life SPIA. I don't know if that's a joint life. I don't know how old you are, but a 6% payout rate is pretty favorable. It's pretty favorable. But actually the article I was just, I'm still sharing this by chance. Oops, hold on just a second. There we go. Like the article is just showing you where they said about why the article was about annuitizing 401k, and they said a lot of people don't do it because you have lack of liquidity. I mean, 1,000 a month is great at 6% payout ratio, but you can't get the money back. You're going to get $1,000 a month for the rest of your life. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so if you need, 25,000 to put a new roof on, you don't have access to it. And that's a big drawback. Question about primary insurance amount. Is it in today's dollars? So the approximate 2.6 COLA would also be needed to factor in from today into, yeah, Anthony, right on, brother. So Anthony's question is, and I've been doing a lot of this on videos lately, and in my course, I do a lot of this too. What you're seeing now is not including cost of living. Now, again, I use the 2.6 for projections. Will you get 2.6? I have no idea, but that's what the trustees report says. So if you want to under, discount, that's fine. I literally, I could care less. But either way, you're going to get a cost of living, and that is not reflected in your current statement. It's just not. So if you have your statement that says you're going to get 2,500 when you're 67 and you're 60 today, well, that's 2,500 today. You got to inflate that by whatever the cost of living adjustment you want to use. I hope that makes sense. And you want to do the same for 62, and you want to do the same for 70. It's a critically important to do that, because I'm telling you, man, and I had a guy, again, back when I was on Facebook, on a Thomas Sowell Facebook group, libertarian, friggin' ticked me off. He's like, just so wrong about Social Security. He's like, Social Security is a scam because this, that, and the other. I was like, but your numbers are just wrong, dude. So he's basically saying, I'm 45 today. I'm only gonna get 2,000 a month from Social Security according to my payment. But if I'm investing at, whatever it was, 5% a year, by the time I'm 67, I would have invested, $850,000. And I could have got 5,000 a month on Social Security. But I said, you're complete. That's not the way you compare these two things. You compare the 2,000 a month you're getting today that they're showing you today when you're 67, but you got to inflate that at a cost of living adjustment. You can't just say I'm getting the Social Security statement showing me I'm getting 2,000 a month, and I'm 45 years old. You're not getting 2,000 a month at 45 years old. It's going to be inflated. And so if you're going to compare that to a cost of to investing money that's growing at a 6 or 7% clip, well, no wonder why Social Security looks so bad, because you're not comparing it right. People do that all the time. I've had this question for years: as I lose a SPIA by death, but my heirs would keep some of the 200. Yeah, that's right, Fear. So if you did well, it depends. So if you did a life only, no, they won't. You always want to do a period certain. So I always defaulted to if I'm married, a joint life with 20-year period certain. That means if I die tomorrow, my wife gets it for as long as she's alive. And if she dies the next day, our kids get it for the next 19 years and 11 months. So we know somebody is going to get money for at least 20 years. I always like the joint life with 20-year period certain. If you're not married, you do a single life. Just as long as you're breathing, you're getting the money. And if you die in year 10, your heirs will still get it for the next 10. If you die in year 25, the heirs get nothing. Man, at 62 years old, a 6% payout, that's a pretty smoking deal. I tell you, man, 62 Turtle. Yeah, single Susie, she's gonna be back big time, Marie, in the tutorial for sure. Can I submit a feature request to add an option on Roth to pull the taxes from the source account instead of to add an option on a Roth conversion to pull the taxes from the source account instead of from the first available cash account? You have to email me, Scott. I don't understand what you're saying there. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're saying there. Food away from home isn't necessarily more expensive. Have you tried cooking from scratch lately? I try. I don't know if cooking from scratch. If I buy meat, I put it on the grill. Is that cooking from scratch? I don't know, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than hell, you get these, man. Oh my goodness. I got such a smoking deal. Costco. I love Costco. There's no way around that. I just love it. They're run by libs, but they're the good kind of libs. And man, I load up on steak and beef. And then anyway, long story short, I ordered some beef from them at friggin' $10.99 a pound for some primo grass-fed beef. And it was, they screwed up the order. They sent me bone-in pork chops, and I'm not a huge fan of pork chops, so I emailed them back, and they sent me replacement, but they let me keep the pork chops. Oh, those suckers! Oh man, I got one sitting in the fridge right now. I was like ready to eat, but my wife made chili for my brother coming in today, and I was like, I'll eat the pork chop tomorrow for lunch. But man, those suckers are good. And grass-fed hamburger, there's nothing ever better than a grass-fed hamburger. It's fantastic. So I don't know if that's considered cooked from scratch. I eat a lot of beef, misconstitutionalist. I'm a big meat eater. Actually, that's not true. I have a plant-based diet. I do. I follow a plant-based diet because the animals I eat, they eat plants. So inherently, I'm a vegetarian because I follow a plant-based diet. Oh man. I know you're a libertarian misconstitutionalist, so I know you'll laugh. Some others, so offended. How could you kill the cows? Because they taste so good. Now, I don't believe in just mass slaughtering for the sake of mass slaughtering, but my goodness, man, if I can get some what's the dude's name? Joel Salatin farm. If I lived in Stanton, Virginia, I'd be all over that. But Joel, I said, Joel, he doesn't sell. He won't ship his product because he says it's the fossil fuels. Was it Joel? I can't remember. There's some guy who's some big, I don't think it was Joel, but there's some greenie who won't ship their product because the fossil fuels in terms of FedExing it. I mean, I got nothing but respect. I said that I got nothing but respect. And the guy's big lib, worried about fossil fuels, CO2. But if I can't remember, it wasn't Joel Salatin because Joel's a big libertarian. But this guy's a big lib. And I said, man, I would, if you're the kind of guy I like, because you actually live by your principles. And if I were in your state and I could drive to your place to pick up some grass-fed beef and free range chicken, I'd do that in a heartbeat, because you're not going to ship it because you don't believe in shipping your product using fossil fuel. And I completely, I got nothing but respect for people who live the way they proclaim. I got nothing but just, just silliness. I scoff at these greeners who are worried about CO2 as they're getting on an airplane. You can't do that, man. You can't sit there and say, we're all going to die from CO2 in what, 11 years and 8 weeks now or something like that. As I'm flying to Iowa to campaign for Bernie, who's also getting on a private jet. It's just freaking nuts. You can't do that. Jimmy, is he's asked me my course complete. No, it's coming, man. I promise. I just keep adding stuff to it. I keep saying, oh, I keep looking at it. I don't want to, I'm usually not a paralysis by analysis guy, but I keep saying, I just want one more. All right, let me change this around. And I got to stop doing that. So, I got a lot of videos in there, and I got a lot of good stuff. And will it be okay for retired people? Sure. I mean, yeah, why not? Because we talk about estate planning. We get a lot about estate planning, a little bit about investments, potential future returns and stuff. Talk about Social Security. So if you still haven't taken Social Security yet, sure, absolutely. But I don't know. That's a tough one there. It's $250 initially for the first wave, and then after that, I'll raise it to $499. So if $250, you'd be out if it wasn't worth it. But is it worth it? Yeah, man, absolutely. I think you can still learn, but I just don't know. You'd have to find out. And unfortunately, I have to spend the money to find out. My man Ben is saying, I'm already saving 70% of my monthly income, and now I want you to stop eating out. Nah, dude, you got to enjoy it. Enjoy it. All right. Am I an actuary? Hells no. Ugh, hells no. Teacher is mad. Please talk. Put the super chat money in my M1 finance account. Yeah. Ooh, Rob, good question. What are your thoughts about what right on AK? AK was telling Bindi Gosh, who's asked the same question like 20 times, that you're gonna have to rewind because I did answer. He must have been gone. What are your thoughts on those commercials that say you should sell your life insurance policy to vultures? Say where you are just diagnosed with cancer. Come here, buddy. Hold on just a second. Oh, come on. All right. Good boy. All right. There we go. Oh, there we go. If you're diagnosed with cancer and you're selling your life insurance policy, that's just foolish, man. Don't do that. Now, on the other hand, if you need the money and you have an old term policy that you can't afford anymore because the cost, what happens with terms, once they get beyond their initial stage, they become annual renewable. That means the premiums adjust each and every year, and they adjust against you because you're getting older. And the older you are, the more likely you're to die, and thus they're more likely to pay out. So they're going to charge you a boatload for those life insurance policies. So if you can't afford it and you don't have terminal cancer, yeah, so I got no problem selling it. Drawing a blank what that is called. Structured settlement, I think, something like that. Structured settlement. I can't remember, but I'm all for that without question, as opposed to letting it lapse. Sure. At the end of the day, you're not going to get that much money on that, I guarantee. But it's I got no problem with it, with doing that, as opposed to letting it lapse. Yeah, you don't want to let it lapse if you can get money from it. But remember, I still don't know how that works, because you need to have an insurable interest in life insurance, and I don't know where the insurable interest would lay. If I buy a policy on, let's say John Milner here, I don't know him, and so my insurable interest is none. And so if he dies, that's good for me. You see what I'm saying? It's good for me because I benefit if I bought a life insurance policy off him. So I'm not sure how that works. I'm not life insurance 101. It's got me insurable interest, or if I took a policy against John, he took a policy against me. Whoever would do a duel, and whoever died would make out like a bandit. That doesn't make sense. And life insurance companies can't operate like that. So I don't get how the structured settlement. I can't remember if that's what it's called. I don't get how they get away with that, because there is no insurable interest from a corporation buying a life insurance policy on grandma because they want grandma to die. I mean, that's just a fact, and I don't get it. So You got John. John says he's 41, has a way to go. I was just using you, John. Don't take it personal. I saw your name up there. Yeah, Pablo rules. I love Pablo. 2,500. Wow. You got Anthony. I'm not sure what that was. Should we move our 401k money to something else when we hit 67 at retirement age? Yeah, I'm just a fan of IRAs, Alan. It used to be IRAs were so much more expensive fee wise. Those days are now gone. I mean, the IRAs I mean, hell, you can get IRAs with no fees whatsoever on the ETFs at Schwab. Vanguard's like 4 basis points. 401k is a pain in the butt because they can be a whole lot more stringent than IRAs when it comes to distributions to beneficiaries, distributions to surviving spouses and whatnot, durable powers of attorney, whatnot. And the corporation, they don't want to be held liable if they screw up your 401k account. And so, they don't want to take the risk. So, they're going to be a lot more stringent than an IRA. So I think it would make sense to absolutely move it to an IRA for sure. All right. So let's see. Mary found my joke about her being late funny. Nothing funny there. Come on, man. Is boomer the N word of my times? I saw an article that I thought that was stupid. Who was talking about that? It's a guy I respect who's writing about that, and I forgot what it was, but no, boomer is not the N word of my times. I've never been infatuated with ever saying the N word just because I find it to be offensive. And I'm not black, I'm white. So I don't know what it's like to be called an N word. I would never, I don't think white people should be in the business of using that at all, given what it was used in the context before. I don't frankly think black people should do it either, but whatever, man, I don't care. And white people want to do it. I don't care that either. I just won't. So I find it embarrassing that we all say these various words are the N word or we say I'm thrown in the same categories as American blacks or American Indians because I'm gay or I'm transgendered or I'm a female. I mean, I find this to be all silly because females can vote. I get that they can own land, but they were not. White females did not have the same limitations as blacks. I mean, or American Indians. I mean, this is just nuts. And I find it. I don't know why the left has allowed that to happen. I don't know why black people allow that. I find it incredibly offensive to say the blacks who were enslaved, who could not vote, who could to say that some rich, wealthy white lady in Manhattan was just as discriminated against as a black guy in the South is insane. And then, and I also hate too, like white people want to say, "Oh, Irish people, we face the same discrimination as blacks." No, you didn't. No, you did not. Yeah, there are some things that Irish need not apply. That's not as being the same as being enslaved. I hate that this race that we all got to prove that we're all victims of other people. I don't get it, man. This is how the whites, they want to be able to say that they're just as a victim as everybody else, and they want thrown in it boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that why would you want to say I'm a victim? I don't get it, because there are people who were dealt a bad hand in America. I get that, but to say everybody else did is nuts. And you got these rich white guys who say they're claiming they're being discriminated against because they happen to be same-sex lovers. And I'm like, that's freaking nuts, dude. I find it incredibly offensive, and I don't want to say anything more about that. All right, let's see here. Viatical sediment. That's right, man. You got it. All right, hold on a sec. Linda says, with Roth IRA, no tax, of course. Could you take out more than 4% rule because of tax break? It's a good question, Linda. That's a great question. I'm just not a big fan of the 4% rule as a whole, so I'd say yes. I don't find it all that valid. But I think it's a great question. I think if the 4% rule does not assume taxes, then it would have to be a 3% rule, frankly, because you'd have to factor in taxes. So if you're talking Roth, no tax is truly the 4% rule, or 3% 4% rule with taxes, if that makes sense. So I just don't find that there's much validity in the 4% rule in the real world. That's my take on that. Yeah, Al says no leather coach purse, leather coat, shoes, belts if you don't eat cow. Right on, man. Magic's to you. I'm wondering if it's safe to casually share financial planning ish investing tips. I'm wondering if it's safe to casually share financial planning and investing tips somewhat specific to coworkers' situations without disclaimers verbally. Sure. It's a free country, man. People, you're not putting a gun to people's head and making them act on it. You're just saying this is what I would do. I mean, that's what I would. Sure, man. I got no qualm with that at all. Jimmy says he'll buy my course, and I know it will not be a waste of money. So he thinks. It's going to be like there's a book. Every election they do this. What did George Bush do successfully? It'll be a book of blank pages. What did I don't know, freaking Hillary Clinton do successful? It's a book of blank pages. My course, they'll say all these videos, but there'll be no content. Is marriage a good investment? Yeah, man. For me, my Miss Constitutionalist says no, it isn't. But for me, it was. Probably wasn't for my wife. I'm 28, about to hit 29. Really not sure if it's worth marrying. Bad marriages can cripple people, yeah, but good marriages can benefit people. I mean, it's just the facts are getting divorced is horrific financially. Staying married is wonderful financially. It's just that's the risk without question. That's the risk. There's no other way around it. So that's why I say you don't get married because of finances. You get married because you love somebody. One thing I say on marriage, and this is what my wife and I have learned, is that people do change, right? And so you don't get married under the auspices that the person you're going to get married is going to make you happy. That's one thing my dad told me many, many, many moons ago, which I still remember. And that was probably the best piece of advice he gave me. He goes, "You can't rely on other people to make you happy. You don't get married for the person to make you happy. You make yourself happy. And if you can't make you happy, don't put the burden on your spouse to make you happy. That's not fair to them." And I think that's incredibly important. Like, oh, she doesn't make me happy anymore, so I'm divorcing her. I'm going to cheat on her or something like that. No, freaking screw that, dude. She is not responsible for your happiness. You are responsible for your happiness. It's all there is to it. And if you aren't happy on the inside and you're going to marry somebody to bear that cross for you, well, that's freaking not fair. And it'll never work, because a human being can't make another human being behave the way that human being wants. It just can't. Anyway, it took me a long time to figure that out, but I have. And at the end of the day, you do the best you can, and you hope that your spouse falls under the same thought process. And if so, you're gonna be good to go. If not, well, you might get financially crippled by being divorced. Secondary market annuities, which is actually purchasing structured settlements sold by insurance companies. Right on, David. Blue Grizzard said, if you're thinking about getting married, just find a woman you hate and buy her house. Buy her house. That sounds like Bill Burr. I'll just make sure good boy, Pablo. Going back to Pablo's bed. Let's see. Pablo's the most financially astute king in the state of Georgia. I forgot who said it, but he said there's an article. Some lady is developing an app or something like that to have dogs be able to speak. And the guy said he can't wait so he can take his financial advice from Pablo. I thought that was funny. Marie, will I notify you of signing up for my courses? Absolutely. Trust me on that. If you're on my email list, you'll get notified. I'll certainly do it by YouTube. I have a couple of previews on it as well. 100% I'll notify you, and I'll make it very easy for you to send me money for sure. So with all jokes aside, I mean, I'm conscious about, it's one of those things that, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm conscious about charging what I think is a righteous fee, but I'm also conscious about, I want to make sure it's worth it. In fact, my brother and I were just talking about this because he's been working on this app for a year. And I've been working on this course for a couple months. We're both sitting there thinking, man, we just don't want to, we just don't want it to suck. There's no other way around that. And charging, a couple $100 to even 400 or 500 bucks, like, I hope it's good. And I think it will be. And to be honest with you, the funny thing is, I do so many videos. I think people have a pretty good gauge of my style, and if they're buying the course looking to be fancy schmancy, I don't know why they would do that unless they didn't know who I was. Because this is, look, man, look at my hair. Isn't that high speed? It doesn't get much more fancy than this with Pablo, tooting on me. So hopefully, but hopefully the people who I'm gearing it towards, just regular middle class Americans, and single Susie and Josh and Charlotte married couple. Hopefully middle class Americans, however you consider yourself. That's where I'm gearing it towards, who are scared crapless of retirement, and I'm going to show them that they can. I will be advised. Both single Susie and Josh and Charlotte, I showed that they can't at 62. Just be advised there. But with some structural planning, without reinventing the wheel, but we easily can later on, a few years out. But we'll see. All right, I'm gonna notify you. Rob says, when you say invest in Ginnie Mae fund, are you talking 3 to 6 months? You're talking about 3 to 5 year cash bucket? Either or, Rob. Yeah, I mean, for me, having money at the bank is always critical. The question was his emergency fund. I'm presuming it's his shorter term money. But for me, I'll probably, let's just, for instance, it'd be sweet, and I don't have it now. But if I had 20,000 in a bank account, and we'll just say 100,000 in Ginnie Mae and 350,000 in stocks. I mean, I'm literally just throwing those numbers out there. That'd be a pretty good portfolio, a barbell to some degree, with a Ginnie Mae serving as a barbell / emergency fund, but enough liquidity in a savings account where I can just tap into it for the ATM machine or something like that. Laughing at being a vegan. That's me. I'm a total vegan, man. Some Southern author used that word in his writing. Very effective type of writing. Nah, see, that's the only drawback. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Michelle. Chris in Chicago, waiting on 4 to 6 inches of snow. What happened to fall? Ooh. Ooh. Why did the Fed increase the amount of money it's putting back via repos back in August? Does this indicate we're in a real estate or housing bubble? Man, Taylor, I don't know. I mean, who knows? We can find. I never heard of this repo market thing. Literally, when I first heard that, I thought they're talking about repo cars. I was like, why are we talking about repossessing vehicles? I said, this is crazy. I literally heard that back in July or something like that. I said, what? Huh? Just because I haven't heard of it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But literally, no one ever said anything about the repo market. I guess the first was January of 2019. I guess people say no one ever said anything about CDOs, but CDOs, love them or hate them, it doesn't matter. What hurt the economy in 2008 was mark-to-market accounting, without question. It was the CRA, the Community Reinvestment Act, where you could buy ninja loans, no income, no jobs or assets. CDOs were the result of this insanity, but you can't blame CDOs per se. I mean, when you can borrow money just because you could fog a mirror. And look, I was in the banking industry at that time. I said this a million times a Sunday. I worked for a branch in Harrisonburg, Virginia. My banker, my boss, the area executive, was desperate that we needed to get a minority to borrow money to buy a house, any minority. I said, this is boggled my mind. As long as they fog a mirror, I said, this is nuts. Because for the banking industry, if we violated CRA, we cannot open up and expand other branches. And CRA is a Community Reinvestment Act. And it was I'm not going to say I don't think it was, Clinton was hardcore on that. Clinton was. And he pushed that like crazy. He said, if you banks don't loan out money, you won't be able to expand. And it's crazy. And the banks, they fall with where the carrot and stick are, and they went with it. And I'm not blaming the CRA per se, but the CRA was giving money to Acorn. Remember Acorn, these fraudulent left-wing, just horrible, horrible groups of people that were stealing money from banks. There's no other way around that. But it was legal. And so the banker said, we want to keep those people off our butts, and we want to be able to expand. So we got to find money to anybody. And that was just one aspect of the 2008 crisis. As a CRA, as ninja loans, as mark-to-market accounting. I mean, obviously, there's greed among many, many different groups of people for sure. But then you got the Rubins of the world, Robert Rubin, Clinton's Treasury Secretary. You got Hank Paulson, all these guys made Bush's Treasury Secretary. You got all these guys who made huge amounts of profits by socializing the risk. Republicans had nothing to do with socializing the risk for private profits, but that's exactly what's happened. It's happened. Look, man, it's happened under Democrats. It's happened under Republicans. But anyway, so now along comes 10, 15 years later, we're talking about the repo market, and it's just silly to me. Married men earn more than men who stay single. Yeah, but I'm sure there's some kind of reason for that. I mean, I don't know the correlation. If I get married, I'll earn more than my wife. I don't know that. Inherently, it makes sense to me, I would think, just because I think married men are probably happier, frankly, and are more productive. Or you could look at the other way. Married men are being hammered to go work harder to make more money for their wife. You can look at it both ways. For me, I'm just, man, oh man, man, what I'd do with that old Char, I'd be in a bad place. Let's put it that way. I'd be in a bad place. But she isn't the one who made me rise up from the doldrums of anger, alcohol, and who knows what else. She was the spark, but I was the flame, if that makes sense. She sparked it for me to say, there's a better path. I need to make a choice here. Choose that path of anger, which is addictive, frustration, loneliness, and despair, or choose this path of I won't say happiness. You're not promised happiness, but choose this path of some stability for the first time in my life. And you fall on your knees and you pray to God, and God says, it's like this old cartoon. There's a flood happened in this town. This is a guy on the roof. He's got a sign that says, "God save me." And a guy goes by on a boat, and the guy says, "Come on, I'm here to save you." He goes, "No, I'm waiting for God to save me." That's kind of like me. I'm like, God, what? I need to. Why aren't you listening? And so Charlotte entertained me for years when I was just not the best person. Let's just put it that way. Before we got married. And I said, God, what do you do? Come on, man, hook me up with something here. And God said, what are you doing? And just one day you just wake up and say, all the things that are happening bad in my life, there's one constant variable, and that's alcohol. Let's give up alcohol and try a different path one time. And thank you, good Lord. As a Catholics, we do the sign of the cross. I know you non-Catholics don't, but we do. And doesn't mean we're praying to a crucifix. Isn't God, by the way. A crucifix is not Lord. It's just a representation of what Jesus went through to free us of our sins. I just always kind of chuckle at that. You're praying to an inanimate object. No, we're not praying to the crucifix. We're not praying to the crucifix. We're praying to God up above. And we do not believe, at least no Catholic should believe, that Mary is without sin. My goodness. Only one was without sin. Anyway. I saw the Green Bay a few hours ago. Retirement means you don't have to worry about clearing off the car, driving this, man. That is, you have to take the ice clip and warm it up. And oh man, Tom, retirement means you don't have to worry about clearing off the ice off your car and driving in the snow to work. Yeah, O. Taylor said he'd be a career criminal if not for his wife. Right on, brother. Al says he's retired in Michigan, getting 3 to 5 inches of snow, and he's loving it. Man, right on. I love it. That's why my wife has some friends who live in Texas are saying, does Josh think we should retire to Maine? I was like, oh man, I was telling my wife, say, hey, your good buddies are thinking about retiring to Maine. What do you think? And she was like, no. I said, how about for 9 months out of there? She was, no. I'm going to work on her. El Katrine, man, thanks. Much obliged. El Katrine is I appreciate it. Right on. Let's see what we got here. How long have I been on this thing? Does it give me a time check? Still got 195 people watching, man. It's fantastic. I don't want to go to work tomorrow. I have to fly out of Detroit, not loving the snow coming to Michigan. Ooh, yeah, I don't miss. 3 YouTube channels you need to follow: Danielle Roberts, Devin Carroll, right? Vic followed this one for financial planning, Danielle Roberts for Medicare, and Devin Carroll for Social Security. I 100% agree with that, brother. I wish Americans can stop and not be political all the time. We are all Americans in the end. I don't know about those so much anymore. NE Patriots. And I think NE stands for New England, huh? 77. So is that 1977 or is that 77? Who is a Patriot wearing number 77? John Hannon was 73. Steve Nelson was 57. Steve Grogan was 14. Russ Francis was 81. Mosey Tatupu was 30. I don't know, 77. Am I missing somebody? Andre Tippett was 56. New England Patriots 77. In 1977, the Pats were good and they lost that game to the Raiders, right? Is that 77 or is that 76 in the playoffs when the Raiders got a horrible call, or the Patriots got a horrible call and roughing the passer? I think it's 76. I can't remember. Of author of books read in high school, like Steinbeck. We use that word effectively in his. I'm still not, Michelle. You talk about the N word because some guy had mentioned the N word, and you keep referring to a word, and I don't know what any other word other than structural viatical sediment someone else said, but I'm not sure if you're using that. I haven't read John Steinbeck. I read it in high school, one book, and it bored me to death. And, because I was forced to, it might be interesting, but I don't recall anything. I've never read any of that Mark Twain stuff, which everyone gets all offended by. Look, man, it's a different day and age, for sure. Just white people should avoid using that stuff. It's just all there is to it. There's no reason to, and I don't care if you use it with an A or if you use it in the ER. Just don't do it. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for white people to do that. It's, as a white guy. I don't think married or single make more. I think it's personality. Yeah, I 100% agree with that, Steve. Rob Ross says, love my channel. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I would just like to say LSU beat Bama. Yes. And notice, did you see my post on the community section of the thing here? They had Arkansas lost to some Division 1A team, and South Carolina lost to Appalachian State. I forgot who Arkansas lost to. But remember, the SEC is the most dominant conference. Look, I don't care if the SEC is the most dominant conference, but let's not pretend the SEC is the most dominant conference and just give Alabama the one rating just because they hadn't played anybody until LSU. They hadn't played anybody. Nuts. I mean, Auburn beat Oregon. I give them something. Who did LSU beat? They beat I forgot who they beat. But anyway, Wisconsin, I think they spanked Wisconsin. Was that pretty close? I can't remember. But anyway, let's stop this. SEC is the best conference. I mean, they've had many teams lose to Division 1AA schools now this year. And if you look at the bowls over the last 10 years or something, they're basically batting 500. I think a little bit less than 500. So let's just go to a 16-team playoff and be done with it and let everyone have a chance, because you know what's still going to happen. Look, if LSU goes to the SEC championship and Georgia goes to the SEC championship and Georgia beats LSU, I flipping guarantee both are getting in this college football playoff, which is bullcrap. Bullcrap. That should not happen. Just get a freaking playoff. What's up with this communist stuff? It's crazy. It's funny when Josh is trying to figure out something out and the answer is so far down the feed. Yeah, right on. Okay. My man from the Pats says, Sabadan says Pablo's so cute. And he knows it. Let's see. Mark Twain. All right. Have a great Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. You got it, my friend. I plan to retire. Rob says, I plan to retire in 2 years at 60 and live for 10 years on my 401k and start Social Security. Do I start immediately transfer to Roth? Yes, 100%, man. Transfer to your namesake Roth. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, Texas, LSU beat Texas, who beat they just beat somebody yesterday. Auburn, Florida, and Alabama. Yeah, so LSU by far is the team to beat. Absolutely. Look, man, I mean, but so is Clemson. You know, Clemson beat all these teams. I think that a close game against North Carolina, but they won. Ohio State, freaking. I mean, how about Utah? I mean, who knows? I can't. Until they get a college football playoff, I boycott the college football playoff. It's not a playoff. Anyway, all right, my friends, it looks like we are done here. Much obliged to y'all being here. Still got almost 200 people on here. I couldn't be happier that you guys are here. Lots of videos this week coming up because I've last week I was freaking busy, man. A bunch of people hired me. I got some downtime this week. I still got some folks to clear up, which is good. And when I say clear up, I mean that in a term of endearment. People pay me a lot of money for my financial planning services, and I don't say clearing up like I'm just throwing freaking darts at the wall. I think about this stuff, and then I think I provide a pretty good service to them. But last week I stomped. It's crazy. That's nuts. And so I've had a little bit of downtime. I say downtime. I haven't had as many requests for people coming up this week, which gives you some breathing time. I can focus on the course. But anyway, but lots of videos coming up, and I'm looking forward to. Yeah. Okay. So Joseph Carlson channel on YouTube, right on. And again, I think we got more than 13 thumbs up, Bruce. We got 91, man. We got 91 thumbs up, man. But don't forget, I'll be interviewing the guy from M1 on Tuesday. So look forward to that. Yeah, right on. Hey, thanks, guys. We'll see you all. Go Boston. College football playoff. Let's get it done. And veterans, thank you for your service. By all means, thank you. Get your Amazon discount. Got to get it ASAP. See ya.